What is up, Facebook world? This is Kimberly and Connor Tracy over here at Big Red SEO in Omaha, Nebraska.
Hello.
I have my coffee from my coffee place right up the hill. I think that's empty, actually. Do you need to add some cut spike whiskey in from your client?
No, I'm good.
Yeah, so it's interesting. If you've ever been around our office, there's a coffee shop that actually used to be called Crane Coffee, and Scooter's a local coffee company here in Omaha, and I think in the Midwest in general. They purchased the Crane Coffee location, and one day I should actually take a picture, because if you're not familiar with where our office is, there's this huge spike of a hill that you have to go up to. So it's almost like your car is like, am I going to make it? Am I not? It's a lot funnier in the winter. And I say that being totally mean, as in, it's funny. You don't know if your tires are going to actually keep you together or not keep you together.
Oh boy, Kim, that's hilarious.
I know. I personally think it's really fun. I get good traction on our car. But it's interesting because it like looks like a house, and it has a little fireplace in the inside, and they've actually taken really good care of it. But anyway, love their brew, love their coffee. Huge shout out to them. Connor is not drinking bourbon. It was actually his favorite beverage in his as well. Well, thank you so much for tuning in live or replay. So today's episode, we actually wanted to dive in more in a technical level. If you're brand new to SEO, don't freak out. We try to make sure that we communicate and explain things kind of in layman's terms. Basically all levels, so you can understand it, right? But if you've been following us for a while, you know we're huge fans of Google. There's a lot of people in the SEO industry and or just have a website and trying to get online marketing. They kind of like go really stern against Google. Like they feel like Google just has this like righteous thing to go after the small man and do all this other stuff. Personally, for us, for our philosophy, we don't believe in any of that bullshit. You can go looking for those types of ulterior motives, and I'm not saying that Google doesn't want to make money by the pay-per-click, but it is a business, right? And it is advertising, and it's getting you exposure. So with that being said, we have always, since we very opened the front doors, made Google our friend. And what I mean by that is, there's specific guidelines in the search engines, best practices is what we call it, that they say, do this, don't do this. And it's pretty black and white. And I don't remember the document itself. How many pages is it? It's like pretty extensive.
It was 163 or 183. So they've changed it now to be the Google Raters guidelines.
Yeah.
There is a guideline that SEO people should follow, and then there's the Google Raters guideline.
Right.
And the rater tells essentially a manual review of a page or a website, and any red flags that might show up. You know, was there keyword stuffing, or there boxes floating around the screen, or there ads that were popping up. So there's a rating guideline that helps, from the manual end of things, helps determine how Google's going to rank your website.
Right. And so like, since we very first started, we were like, you know what, like we get why Google, and we talk to Google a lot, right? But Google has the strongest best practices. So if you can get in the graces of Google, you'll get through the graces of all other search engines, except for DuckDuckGo. DuckDuckGo does have results. I can't believe I said that twice in a row. Does have results, but they don't track the stuff. So you can't get the data, if that makes sense.
What's the name of the company?
DuckDuckGo. DuckDuckGo, boom, 3 times. Anyway, back to the focus. The thing is like, if you make Google your friend, right, and you just know that there's going to be changes, the changes are actually for the end users, and the changes, I would say, are for the businesses that are legit. Google has a lot of these updates, these core updates and regular updates that come out because there's other individuals or companies that are just trying to create fake companies to get high rankings, or it might be a third-party website that's trying to get somebody else to buy advertising from them to rank to the top page. There's other ones that are just spam, and they're doing what's classified as Blackhat SEO. So white hat SEO means you follow all the rules. There is no gray. Black hat is that you play naughty, and sometimes naughty wins. We're not going to say that it doesn't. However, the thing that we always keep in mind is the reputation of the business, right? We are more about longevity and getting people ranked for long term. But this core update, the reason why I'm going into this is to try and get the beginners on the same level as the advanced, because This was a big one, guys. This one had this guy constantly doing different looks and sees, and
not in freak out mode.
No.
But definitely paying a little more attention than what Kim would have wanted me to do in the past week.
Well, no. What I would say is it definitely was not in freak out mode, right? I don't know if we've ever been freaked out by an update, honestly.
There's been a couple of websites over the years where I've sat there and kind of done one of those.
Scratch your head.
What's going on?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, when you actually look at it, it was an action on the website that would have caused one way or the other.
Yeah.
Maybe words were removed out of the page and that caused a rank drop.
Right.
Maybe there were new things added, like a pop-up being added that covered the entire mobile screen, or, various different things. I don't want to say that they were just self-inflicted, but to an extent they were self-inflicted. You've got a page of content, and then you go through and you delete all the content, and then you ask, well, where did my rankings go?
Right.
Well, you deleted everything that Google could rank.
You deleted the things that made you an industry leader in Google's eyes, meaning that they know exactly where to index you, right? Mm-hmm. And it's interesting because in the time that we've been doing this, we are always super honored and blessed whenever we have clients that people that become clients, right? And sometimes the stars just don't align and we don't become clients. But just because that doesn't align doesn't mean that we don't watch the tracker and the trends. And that's what this guy does, is he kind of keeps track of, okay, this person went with us. Awesome. This person went this other route. And it's not to trash talk or say that a company doesn't know what they do, but when we actually test and look at the forecast of how does an update happen, we put our ears to the ground that way. And you're also involved in a lot of different forums and technical forums. And the really cool thing is when you get past all the bullshit of competition, there's actually quite a substantial amount of SEO experts that commit to stay in white hat SEO. They kind of give feedback back and forth to help each other, like figure out, okay, how do I rank this? Or I have this challenge. I have this troubleshoot. I don't know what to do. How do I go about that? Mm-hmm. Which he has access to, that kind of gives the rumblings of, okay, I saw this spike happen. I saw this massive drop down, because Google's not going to tell you that there's going to be an update until it's almost done, right? Like that's
that. And, when we go through, with our clients and whatnot, we're dealing with a limited sample set of people. Now, when you start to take 500 SEO people and their 20, 30, 40 clients, now you've got a bigger sample set to work on, and you can say for sure that, yes, this affected chiropractors in the medical industry because out of everybody, there was a 70% drop out of all the customers. Okay, great. We have an idea of what's going on or what it might have affected.
Right.
And there's different groups, as Kim said, that I'm involved with. There's one that I'm in it's all white hat. Everybody in there is white hat, except for a handful of people that are black hat that are also leading the conversation. Not that they're promoting the black hat, but you have to know what's wrong in order to know what the right way is of doing it.
Yeah,
so having those black hat and gray hat guys in there, it really helps keep everybody else on track.
Yeah, and they actually have a really good code of conducts where it's like, hey, if you look into this thing, don't poach my client. It's just kind of one of those things that doesn't happen. But that's totally a different subject. Today, what we wanted to do was roll up our sleeves and have Connor kind of tap into his zone of genius and share with you like what happened, what is going on. If your rankings dropped, he's got some feedback of what you can do. If your rankings stay the same, cool, no big deal. And if they increase...
If they stayed the same, cool, no big deal. But why did they stay the same?
Right. Well, here's my caveat. If you're ranked number one and you didn't drop, there is no other number one, right?
True.
And then if you're starting to climb the rankings, or you have been for a while, he's going to share with you some little areas that you can focus on, maybe to jump ahead and get a leg up on the competition, especially with what's going on right now. We've talked about this for weeks and weeks and weeks. our world's kind of different right now, right? There's a lot of businesses that are kind of taking their foot off the pedal, marketing. They don't know where things stand. So if you do put fuel on the fire, now's the time to do it in any industry, I would say, with that. So Connor, let's go ahead and dive in. I am going to be inviting people in to watch our episode. So if you want to be invited in the future, put a comment down below. We'll add you to the list.
Or like our business page and then click the reminder button when the Facebook Live goes live. Cool. Or you can also go to YouTube and I'll bring up that video
now you're giving too many options.
You can go to Facebook.
Giving too many options.
Big Red SEO. You can also find us on Twitter. There's not a whole lot of stuff over there. But the YouTube stuff, you can go back and watch all our past videos and all that information is over there. So going forward.
Coffee.
Look,
Much needed. Coffee.
So Kim mentioned that the update happened, and of course, it's the May 2020 core update by Google. This was the second biggest core update that they've ever had. Now, the last big one was the Medic update back in late 2017, I think it was. So Google has a core update that happens basically 3 or 4 times a year, depending what's going on. But at the end of the day, this update was a big one across multiple verticals. And it has to be a big one. As Kim said, our world is very different right now. And what this algorithm, from what we can see, we talk about the algorithm. Well, an algorithm that Google is using is all AI powered or artificial intelligence, right? So what that does, it looks at the habits of people and then presents information based on their habits. Well, if you take the last 2 months and you compare that with what's happened in search in the last 10 years or how everybody's operated their life in the last 20 years, you take that 2 months and it completely throws the entire AI out of the equation.
Right.
It used to be people got up and 8 a.m. was going to be busy on I-80. That was a guarantee. So all the maps, all the routing, everything was all AI powered to say, hey, use these routes instead to get to your final destination.
Right.
Well, now I-80 at 8 a.m. is empty. So all that AI power that's been saying, do this, do this, do this, now it's got to change. And that's what this core algorithm mainly addressed. There's a lot of people in the SEO industry that are saying, Amazon was the big winner out of this. Amazon, Etsy, Pinterest, they are just getting listings one after another. Well, of course they are. Everybody's on Amazon shopping. The whole toilet paper crisis of 2020. Everybody was on Amazon trying to buy toilet paper.
Cheers to the fact that every time I went to the store, there was toilet paper there.
True. So when you look at, again, if you're dealing with AI and you're dealing with computers, they're trying to emulate what a human would do. And that's based on past information.
Yeah.
Everything that's going on right now has changed that entire model. So as a result, everything in Google has changed. So from what we can tell, and again, this algorithm rolled out between May 4th and May 18th, I think, about 4 days ago. So it took about 2 weeks to roll out completely. And when we talk about making changes on a website and how that's going to affect the algorithm, it may not affect it on the next update. It may be 2 updates before your changes are indexed by Google.
Right.
So when you notice there's a problem in your website, you need to get on that as quick as possible. If you have a structure issue, you need to get that resolved, the mapping, making sure your links are all squared away. That all has to be done before the next algorithm rolls out,
right?
So that you can be included, and the effects may not happen until the algorithm after that. So we're talking 3 months, maybe even 6 months before you see the change.
Here's the caveat, though. Sometimes Google's done updates back to back, and it's kind of blown us away. We're like, oh no, it'll be fine. And then right after they do another one. So it's just one of those things, guys, whenever we give you advice or suggestions or feedback on things to go in and fix and correct, it's better for if you just take action immediately. So if you don't have a pen and paper out right now or your phone for notes, start taking them and writing them down. And make the commitment to actually take action and get them done or get them cleaned up. I mean, I can't tell you how many times we have seen businesses that were like, I'm starting to drop the rankings, they go incorrect, and as fast as they were dropping, they wound up bouncing back up. It's really, really cool to see.
Yeah, Gary Isles, one of the big guys there at Google, who's one of the search liaisons, he was talking about, we talk about the core update in the Google algorithm, and really you need to look at this as being millions of baby algorithms. Yeah. That was the wording that he used. It's that
I like that.
It's not just one thing that's going to change. You can't just change a title on a page and say, there you go, my SEO is done.
Yeah.
There's thousands of factors that happen, and each one of those affects an algorithm in a certain way.
Right.
So one of the big things that has been affected, especially for this, it's the YMYL update. So this was an update that was done many, many months ago. It's part of the algorithm. The YMYL is your money or your life.
Right.
And these are websites that can affect either your financial health, your physical health, and what those impacts could be in the future. So Google has paid very special attention to those industries and adjusted algorithms as a result. So if you're in the healthcare industry, your changes may be several months out before you start to see the impact. They're going to scrutinize every little thing in your website to make sure everything from the content, that it's all trustworthy. Mm-hmm. It's called the EAT, expertise, authoritative, and trustworthy. And the way you build that is by having other people either guest write or you're quoting other people in your website. If you're a medical website, you've got to have information there from doctors.
Right.
That a doctor said this. And then link to that doctor. And then get links from other places that are quoting you and your website and your business. And I say this is in the health industry, but this is across the board in any industry.
In any industry.
And it's something that we've talked to our clients the last couple of years that, hey, we need to get more storytelling in your website. Mm-hmm. And that has been a big push that we've been doing.
Yeah.
We want the actual experiences that you're facing. Having that in the website, Google can now tell that it's not that you're talking about these things, but you're experiencing these and providing solutions on what happens if and how did you fix XYZ scenario.
Right.
So using that expertise end of things in particular, that's going to be a big factor with regards to this algorithm or with this latest update.
Well, and I can't tell you how rewarding it is for us to do storytelling. We said that since I think we started saying that 3 or 4 years ago, right? Mm-hmm. And then now it's like, yeah, it's here. It's arrived.
And the thing is that there's always been hints about this.
Yep.
It just hasn't come down, with a sledgehammer and says, this is it. Again, there's not just one thing that you can do. But if you look at the trends of everything, if you look at what's being requested, if you look at what Google is saying, this has been the direction they continue to head.
Yeah.
You need to have your content regularly updated. Mm-hmm. That's a big thing. You need to have content
in the first place.
So make sure your pages have words on them. Make sure your blog posts have words.
And in the thought process, guys, it doesn't matter what industry you're in, you can find a way to tell a story. So real estate's a highly competitive industry. It's one of those in SEO. We personally don't work with a lot of real estate agents. And if we do, we wind up working on consulting because there's a lot of time that has to be applied. But the thought process is if you're selling houses all the time, okay, cool, that's awesome. Tell the story of the house being sold, right? Of course, have the client's permission by far. Don't just put their stuff out there to put their stuff out there. But even though the selling of a house the steps are usually the same for all real estate agents, meaning you're going to have somebody arrive at the house, show the highest house, sell the house, bid, da-da-da-da. There's always a story behind the family or a story behind the situation. Are they actually growing their family? Are the kids going off to college and now they're empty nesters? Are they looking to go from a studio to a big giant mansion? What is the thing, if that makes sense? So any industry really has the ability to tell a story. And I would just say to add into that, when it comes to content, don't just create content to create content. Like this was an old like SEO, like top technique of do a blog every single day and get so many words every single day. Here's the deal, guys. Like since search has gone to voice a lot has changed in the fact that they don't, like the search engines don't want content just to have content. They're actually looking for the expertise, the knowledge, the value added, the educational, the storytelling
content.
And depending on your industry, the emotional tap into it as well, right? So just keep those in mind when you're going to create content. And by gosh, if you have a page in your website that does not have content, draft the page until you have content. Don't have a page that can get indexed by the search engines and then an end user land on it and no information's there. Like that's the worst experience for an end user, and your time on site will go down, your bounce rate will go up. It's just not a good end user experience.
And on the other side of the coin, you know, I talked about SEOs all getting upset that Pinterest was taking a couple of spots in the listing. Well, since everybody's at home and they're trying to do stuff with kids, they're trying to do homemade things, they're trying to do arts and crafts, maybe the picture is the solution and they don't need 400 words. So showing the story of, you know, this is how to make a certain thing. Pinterest is awesome at doing that because people share their before and after nailed it photos, I guess you want to say. But you can tell that story within your website and then start to get some rankings on that. So yeah, Google is ranking Pinterest, but maybe that's what the person was looking for. You have to look at that search intent. Were they actually looking for the finished product, or are they looking for a how-to guide on how to make a turkey with a picture of a kid's hand? That's the only thing I can come up with. That's an arts and craft for kids.
Thank you, everybody that's tuned in live as well as the replay. Appreciate you being here. So, what else information do you have for us?
So I got one other big item, and I haven't even talked to you about it.
Coffee.
Coffee time, yeah. It was actually, I had started to talk to you about it, but then the cigar got involved, and, you know, I went back outside. But essentially, again, Gary made a posting last week talking about the content in a page. So we've been talking about content. Awesome. Well, one of the things he had said was that the content in the comments, so if you have comments enabled on your website, Google does not differentiate the comment content from your page content.
Interesting.
They treat that all as
one.
You have approved this content for your site. That's a huge deal when it comes to WordPress. You know, a lot of people make their comments automatically available.
Yeah, they automatically post on the site.
Well, if you've got a lot of spam stuff, if you've got a lot of fighting, if you've got a lot of hate stuff happening in there, I don't like this, or I hate you, and F this, whatever else. If you have a lot of that, the value of your entire page can be devalued because of the comments of other people. And, you know, we look at some different SEO websites, and, you know, they're out there just to bash, you know, either the SEO people or bashing Google or bashing the process and whatnot. Well, all of that is all negative intent. So why would Google show that negative post? It totally devalued. And when you look at some of the large organizations, they have been removing comments and blocking all comments on the website because they want to control the narrative of the site, which I wholeheartedly agree. We have the same thing on ours. Some posts are available for comment, and they're heavily moderated. We monitor what's actually being posted, and are we going to approve that? Do we want that associated with our site? So that is something to pay attention to, in that it's now part of your content. And pay attention to what's in there. So before, it's always been, well, the comments don't get indexed and whatever else. And now, oh no, the comments are important.
Well, and I think at one point, comments might have gotten indexed because it was part of the SEO strategy for a while. So I do know that. But if you do have a website, and comments normally are in blog posts, right? Like less pages and comments and pages. It's more common in blog posts. You decide if you want to have it. Definitely make it to where it's not automatically published. But here's what I can tell you. A lot of people put comments open because they think, well, if I get exposure and people are talking, I can tell you 99% of the time it's spam that comes and hits your comments. So here's the other thing is, if you you open that gate and you just let anybody in it. If one spammer finds you, I can promise you 5,000 other spammers are going to find you. It's kind of shitty how it happens and how it works, but this is how they do it. They send you a comment to your blog, and if you have it automatically, they actually put the link of whoever they're doing SEO for or marketing for inside the comment to get people to either click, and or it's built within a website. So it's actually classified as an external link. They can report to their client, hey, I created an external link for you. Oh, by the way, I found this website and it has all these blog open and there's 100 blogs. I'm going to put 100 comments in. I have given your website exposure by 100 new links. So it's kind of shady how it works. Yeah. Don't pay attention to that process. But what I'm trying to articulate to you is not only is a ranking factor, the quality of what you're getting. Now, if you can keep clean dialogue back and forth, do it. Like if you go to some of our blog posts in our website, we've opened the comments, we regulate them, but we've even allowed our competition to go in and post on our website, right?
One to check on our website is the BBB post. If you just search for BBB, you'll find a post. And it's got good dialogue between probably 7-8 people in there. They're going back and forth, and it's long stuff. It's not just a one comment of, you suck. It's not one of those things.
It's a conversation going back and forth, right? So if you can monitor it, definitely do it. But
The other is that inside of WordPress, a lot of people will enable the automatically approve if the person had previously had an approved post.
That's sticky too, man.
So again, if somebody makes a comment and it doesn't look like spam, you approve it, and then you have it enabled.
Here's where I was going to say, this is where this can go flush down the toilet quick. Like, say that you have a client, and they wind up getting on your blog, and they're dialoguing, can't even say the word. They're jiving you. Like, they love you to bits and pieces, and then all of a sudden something goes squirrely, and they're no longer your friend, right? If they already have previous approval and access, they can go in and actually boss your comments and boss your reputation. So that's something to think about, because a lot of times business owners don't even pay attention to so-and-so commented on your website inside the inbox. They just ignore it. They're like, oh yeah, that's not important. Delete. And then before you know it, there's a fire inside of a comment, and it's just crazy. So manage it, regulate it, decide if that's even for you.
So at the end of the day, this whole thing is all about content.
Yeah. So it's like the core update.
This is a big update for content.
Yeah. So it's definitely about content, and it's also about like making sure that whatever you're doing is with intention, right? Don't just do something to do something. Don't just break out service pages as to break out service pages. Actually take time to figure out what is the content going into it. What's the path for the person? If you have products, you can definitely create pages for the products, but where can you enhance their experience? Is there a way that you can upsell to another product? Is there a way that you can complement one product with 3 other products that they can have, so your transaction can actually go higher, if that makes sense? And just provide a good user experience.
Yep. So that's what I've got right now for the May core update. And that information may fluctuate and change over the next couple of weeks as more data comes out. So,
cool. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in, either live or replay. We appreciate you so much. We will be tuning in next Friday at 1 p.m. If you would like to come, you can come and put your name in the comments, and I will invite you. And or what's the flipper thing? Yeah. Facebook. You can follow us on Facebook. You're already in our page, so just click our name or click the following button. Up in the top right-hand corner.
Yeah. Stuff down there.
And then YouTube, and then Twitter. So Twitter, you can follow if you're a twit person. And YouTube, I think that's going to be a jingle song. But anyway, in the meantime, thank you so much for being you, as well as stepping forward in your industry. We will chat at you next time.
All right, guys. Have a great day now. Thank you so much.